The opening weekend of March 6 through 8, 2026, rewrote the rulebook for original animation and left one major Hollywood studio scrambling for answers. Pixar's latest original animated feature, Hoppers, directed by Daniel Chong, launched to a stunning $88 million globally in its debut weekend, splitting neatly into $46 million domestically and $42 million from international markets. That marks the strongest worldwide opening for an original Pixar film since Coco pulled in $104.7 million across like-for-like markets back in 2017, nearly a decade of waiting for a moment like this. For a studio that has faced mounting pressure to prove the commercial vitality of non-sequel, non-franchise storytelling, the numbers feel like more than a box office win. They feel like a statement. The domestic performance alone tells a compelling story. Saturday's $19.1 million haul jumped 45% over Friday's $13.2 million combined opening and preview figure, a trajectory that signals genuine enthusiasm rather than front-loaded curiosity. What is particularly striking for industry observers is the audience composition: 52% general audiences versus 48% family groups. For a Pixar title, that balance leans notably broader than typical, where family-heavy crowds in the 60% range are the norm. Pete Docter's administration at Pixar appears to have crafted something with a cross-generational pull that studios rarely manage to manufacture on purpose. Internationally, the film debuted at the top of the charts in virtually every major market. The United Kingdom led the way at $6.4 million, followed by Mexico at $3.7 million, France at $3.6 million, where Hoppers notably ended the 5-weekend reign of local family favorite Marsupilami to claim the no. One spot Germany at $3.5 million and Spain at $2.8 million, which was flagged as an overperformance by tracking analysts. Korea delivered $2.1 million for a strong no, two finish behind the domestic period epic The King's Warden, which is currently in its 7th weekend. Italy and Brazil each contributed $1.9 million and $1.8 million respectively, while Poland rounded out the European picture at $1 million. Across both Europe and Latin America, Hoppers registered as the second highest opening weekend of 2026 overall and the single best debut for an original animated film since Coco in Europe. In Latin America specifically, the film claimed the highest opening for an original animated film since Elemental, with Colombia contributing $1 million to the regional total. The Friday to Saturday uptick in that region was significantly ahead of comparable releases, which analysts read as strong word of mouth already in motion. In Asia, the film opened in only 5 markets this weekend: Korea, the Philippines, Thailand, India, and Indonesia, yet managed the no. One non-local position and the highest non-local opening of 2026 to date across all 5. Both India and Thailand saw Hoppers become the highest-grossing original animated film since the pandemic. The rollout continues over the coming weeks, with Japan, Israel, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Vietnam set to follow next weekend. China scheduled for March 20 and Australia opening March 26 to align with local school breaks. China represents perhaps the most fascinating open question in Hopper's global journey. Pixar originals have historically underperformed there in the post-Coco era. Onward reached just $10.3 million, Elemental managed $15.8 million, and Elio was outright rejected with $3.9 million. However, Hoppers carries a meaningful advantage heading into the Chinese market. The film has been extensively trailered alongside Zootopia 2, which has become a phenomenon in China with $667 million to its name. Whether that goodwill translates at the ticket window remains an open question, but few Pixar originals in recent memory have entered China with a stronger marketing runway. Meanwhile, the weekend's other major release arrived with the full weight of studio ambition and left with almost nothing to show for it. The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal and starring Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley, earned a combined $13.6 million worldwide, $7.3 million domestically, and $6.3 million from 70 international markets. Warner Bros. Had publicly projected a global opening in the $38 million to $40 million range, a forecast that now reads as one of the more optimistic miscalculations of the year so far. The film carries a reported production cost of $80 million to $90 million and a global marketing spend in the range of $65 million, meaning the studio faces a daunting path to any form of financial recovery. Internationally, the results were grim across the board. The United Kingdom provided the film's best overseas market at $950,000 for a Nobot 4 finish. Mexico followed at $753,000, also No 4. China registered $538,000 for Nobot 8. France could muster only $406,000 at Noba 13. Brazil brought in $376,000. Spain, $304,000 for No. 5. Italy, $292,000 at number 7. Australia, $281,000. Germany, a deeply disappointing $181,000 at number 16. Corea $135. Colombia $116. And Poland $114. In many markets, the film did not crack the top 10 at all. The auteur-driven prestige positioning that might have drawn European art house audiences for a Paul Thomas Anderson or Quentin Tarantino release simply did not materialize around Gyllenhaal's directorial profile at this stage of her career. The contrast between the two films could not be sharper in human terms. Pixar bet on an original idea and found an audience that crossed age groups and continents. Warner Brothers bet on a challenging, unconventional genre piece with awards ambitions and watched it scatter the crowd. The Weekend is a reminder, one Hollywood seems to need regularly, that originality and risk are not the same thing, and that connecting with audiences requires more than ambition or pedigree. With Illumination and Nintendo's Super Mario Bros. Galaxy approaching later in April, the family box office is set to intensify considerably. But Hoppers has established itself with the kind of word-of-mouth momentum and audience goodwill that makes a long run more than plausible. The harder conversation is the one happening inside Warner Brothers, right now, and what comes next for a studio that had strung together 9 consecutive No. 1 openings before this weekend. So here is the question worth sitting with. In an era dominated by sequels, franchises, and IP familiarity, does Hoppers prove that audiences are still hungry for genuinely original stories, or was this the exception that proves the rule? Drop your take in the comments below, and if you want more box office breakdowns and entertainment news as it happens, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story.